After Plassey, the East India Company had a playbook. Find a weak link, pay a bribe, win the war before it starts. It worked in Bengal. It worked again in the next kingdom. Then it walked straight into Mysore and met a ruler who'd already built a weapon Europe hadn't even seen yet. South of Bengal, far from Plassey's betrayal, a kingdom called Mysore was building something different. Its ruler, Hyder Ali, wasn't interested in playing by the old rules. He modernized his army, hired European trainers, and built one of the most disciplined forces in India. His son, Tipu Sultan, grew up watching the company swallow kingdom after kingdom. He decided Mysore would not be next. Thing nobody in India or Europe had done at this scale. He developed iron-cased rockets. Long-range, terrifyingly loud, capable of breaking enemy cavalry charges before they even got close. These rockets weren't a footnote. They were so effective that British engineers later studied them and used the design as the basis for their own military rockets. Mysore wasn't behind the company. In this one area, Mysore was ahead. When the company tried the old playbook on Mysore, pressure, alliances, probing attacks, it didn't work the way it had before. Hyder Ali and later Tipu fought back hard, winning real battles and forcing humiliating treaties on the British. For the first time since Plassey, the company faced an opponent who could not simply be bribed away. So they changed their strategy. The company couldn't defeat Tipu Sultan in a fair fight. So they did what worked at Plassey, just on a larger scale. They formed alliances with Tipu's regional rivals, the Marathas, the Nizam of Hyderabad, turning Indian powers against each other once again. By 1799, Tipu Sultan stood almost alone, his capital, Seringapatam, surrounded by a combined force he could never have beaten on his own. He was offered a deal: surrender, accept British terms, keep his life. He refused. Tipu Sultan died defending the walls of his own capital, fighting until the very end. Mysore fell, not because Tipu was weak, but because, like Bengal before it, he was finally outnumbered by his own neighbors. With Mysore gone, the company controlled the south the same way it controlled Bengal. Not through one master stroke, but through the same pattern, repeated. Find the strongest resistance, surround it with its rivals. Let India's own divisions do the work conquest alone never could. Tipu Sultan's rockets would go on to influence British weapons for decades. But Mysore itself became just one more name in a growing list, and the company's eyes were already turning toward the most powerful Indian force left standing, the Marathas. Tipu Sultan proved that the company could be beaten. Innovation, discipline, and resistance worked. But proving it once wasn't enough. As long as India's kingdoms could be turned against each other, even the strongest resistance could be surrounded and worn down. Next time, we look at the power that gave the company its hardest fight yet. 3 separate wars, over 40 years, against an empire that refused to fall easily. If you want to see how far India's resistance could go, subscribe and let me know in the comments, who do you think held out longer, Mysore or the Marathas?